Hey everyone, welcome to this week's update. Now before we go into this week's stuff, I want to mention that next week there will be the half-year anniversary. So I would expect there to be some special events and possibly like a special banner for it as well. So I would hold off on pulling anything until then. But we will go over what we have this week, and you can make your own decision on whether you want to pull or not. So yeah, for this one, for this week we have Cynthia. So Cynthia is a guard type unit, and she scales of attack, and she's an anti-dodge unit. Okay, so I believe she needs to be rank 1 to get the anti-dodge ability, which is pretty easy to get. You just get the skill resonance on her, and then she's good to go. But she doesn't do a lot of damage at skill 1, so just keep that in mind. Like, even though she's anti-dodge, like, it's pretty low damage. You do want to invest like a pretty decent amount of skill ups into her to make her actually do a good amount of damage. So yeah, she's usable in both PvP and for Crusade bosses. PvE, she's probably okay because she has like a cleave, right? So similar to Kokoro Kami and Morgan. Obviously not as good as Morgan because she like blows up the whole screen, but she does have the same attack skill range, right? And she also is a second row attacker, so that could be relevant when doing PvE stuff. She dispels reflect effects, which I'm unsure how it works because I think when I tried it before, it didn't seem like she stopped shield reprisal from clock, and she just like killed herself anyway. But I'll probably test this further and see how if I was just wrong about that. But I mean that's what her description is. So yeah, maybe she's good against reflect. I don't know, or reprisal, I should say. Unless reprisal is classified like differently to like your typical reflect skills. Like I think DB2 has her own like specific reflection, right? Skill that I think this might counter that, but I haven't really seen much DB2, so I wouldn't be able to test it either anyway. Then she does a little bit more extra damage after she attacks, and if she kills a unit, she will boost her own attack, which is quite nice. And she dispels weakening off herself, and then before she attacks, she will boost herself with more attack and crit damage. So you mostly just need to put a crit chance buffer on her. So something like a Franco or like a Tina. Probably not Tina in PvP, but unless you're pairing her with Franca. But Franca probably will be mostly enough to boost her up, and then she can do some pretty big damage with that. And then her EX ability is like your typical DPS EX, where she deals extra damage after her action if the target hasn't died and they're like below 50%, and that damage cannot be dodged. Now that is her in a nutshell. She is quite similar to Valentine Chalissa, right? Anti-dodge, does pretty good single target damage, and guard type DPS, so she like benefits off clock and Mo. But she's more of like I guess she's more of like a cleaver, right? And whereas Valentine Chalice is specifically a single target DPS unit. But I feel that they're pretty similar in terms of like how you would use them. I think she's probably viable for raid bosses, but I haven't tested her at like a high skill level, so I'm not sure how she compares to say like Chalice in that regard, or Pressure even. But she is an option if you want to run a guard DPS unit that is usable in both areas. Now let's go over her overlimit. So her overlimit is a little weird because it says it strengthens her skill 1, right? But this description is her skill at skill rank 1, which I'll show you now. So I'm at skill 3, so it's showing this description, which if you compare it to what it was before, Skill 3 is a 90% instead of 62.5% attack scaling, but this also scales with crit chance, whereas the other one didn't. Then in the skill upgrade, if you check on skill 1, this is the description that you saw on the over limit, right? So I don't know if this means that the over limit is giving you this, and then your skill 1 will be like a higher percentage or something like that, right? It's a little confusing. I'm unsure if this is like a bug or not. So yeah, I'm assuming it's supposed to like improve this like by some sort of percentage. But worst case scenario, this still gives you a lot of like stat boosts, right? When you over limit, there's 2 over limits, so this means you should get 60% attack and then 120 at like full maxed out over limit, which is quite a lot of extra attack. So this might make her viable and maybe possibly better than Charlissa on raid bosses. We'll have to see if I have the resources to test that out or not. But if you don't have a Charlissa, then you could consider running Cynthia as like your anti-dodge DPS. Okay, so there's another unit that got an over limit, which is Hoshi. So let's just go over that real quick. So for her resonance, it's buffing the skill that gives her camouflage, or it gives supports camouflage, right? It goes to 8 turns. Now this one is upgraded to like what it was before. That's why I'm confused about the Cynthia one, which looks like a downgrade for my one, right? So my Hoshi is max skilled. So you can see here, this is the skill that's getting buffed up, right? So it's 7 turns at max rank, and then it goes to 8 when it gets over limit. But I'm not sure if that is like, upgrading one of the lower skill ranks to like 8 turns, and then this might go like, get buffed by much more than that. If it works the same way as how the Cynthia one is like showing, right? But I think this skill is not particularly great. It seems to be like a PvP skill, but I don't feel like anyone really using Hoshi anyway, and protecting your supports is a little whatever because you're going to use taunts anyway for the most part, so I don't think this is particularly good. I would probably not waste your resources on getting this. This is my personal recommendation, but you can do what pleases you. And lastly, a couple more new things here. So there's this new box event where you select one of the boxes and you get some rewards. Pretty simple event, just freebie rewards. So remember to collect those when it comes out. It comes out in a couple of days, so it's not immediately available, but it will be, I guess, on the weekend. And we have a new battle pass, and it's a Franca skin. Even though Franca already has a skin, but there's like a second one. I think the previous Franca skin was I believe it was a monthly reward, but this one is a paid one. It costs you $10 to get it, right? You could pay $20 if you want these extra rewards, but it's not really worth it. I would say $10 is quite worth money-wise. If you are like a light spender, then you can get $10 to get this stuff, which is already pretty okay for $10. But you get all these like extra bonus rewards on the advanced like section here. And it adds up quite a lot, like for $10. So it's up to you if you want to spend money or not. If you're staying free to play, then that's up to you. But that is what we have for this week. So just a quick recap. Next week we do have the half-year anniversary, so make sure I would suggest like you would wait for that before you spend anything. And especially for Cynthia, like she's okay, but she's not like a top tier unit, so no rush to get her. Plus she's like already available, and you could pick her in one of the selected tickets, I think. If you get it from the your pity achievement, right, from the database. I'm not sure if she's in that one, but worst case scenario, you can always pick her in the customized banner already anyway. So there's no real rush to get Cynthia, and she's mostly if you need a anti-dodge unit for bosses, really. Alright, so that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye. Bye bye.